put us on gallery view first so they can see us all.
Looks like we're streaming. It tells me we're streaming live on Facebook.
Awesome. That's what I've got as well. I'm just going to double check because the amount of times I've sat here talking to myself before we get started. Yeah, I've got my confused face there as standard on top of here. Cool. Awesome, guys. Well, first of all, thanks for joining us. We're obviously going to be live. We're going to kick things off in about a minute's time, so we'll let a few people, you guys, turn up. If you can hear us and see us okay, make sure you just say hello in the comments and just say a quick chat and hello, and then we'll kick things off in just a moment. Make sure everything's all cool on here. Awesome. Cool. We're getting people to turn up, which is good. So open this up.
Ash, you're the man. Watching you do this. Multitasking.
Multitasking all over the place with everything. It's all crazy. Cool. Awesome. I think we'll get started anyway. So as you guys know, we've been trying to do regular interviews and stuff inside the Facebook group. Some with you guys and also some with people who are, I'd say, experts in the industry to try and help you progress your business. So one of the things I want to do now is quickly introduce Dave Smith, who has been involved in the industry a while. You may have actually read some of his blog posts. I believe he wrote a blog post for us not too long ago, if I remember rightly, which I think was about, an email sequence as well to bring people into the program stuff after, which was really, really cool. I'll actually post that below as well if anybody wants to see that. But let's just start off. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself? Just tell us a bit about your background and kind of what it is you do now.
Yeah, Ash, man, thanks for having me here. I'm excited to chat. I'll give you my quick, like, two-minute history here. I started out as a personal trainer in 2001. So this is, my 18th year in the fitness industry. And I started, like many personal trainers do, I was going to people's homes and training them in their homes. And I quickly realized that was like an awful, awful business model. I spent more of my time driving around the city than I did actually working with clients, and just realized my earning potential was so capped. And so again, I did what most personal trainers probably do, is I built a home studio. So I bought a new house, big basement, built the studio, and thought, awesome, all these clients are going to come to me. I don't have to drive anywhere. And then I realized it's not all it sounds to be. You know, I had people coming into my home, my work and personal life were just like all became one. And it wasn't something that was sustainable. And so I thought, okay, well, how can I fix this? The next obvious step is I'm gonna open a gym. And so I did it the hard way. I did everything the hard way. I literally bought a piece of land and built a gym. And
that's the hard way.
Yeah, I did it the hard way. Hired all these personal trainers, and we were crushing it. Like, this gym, we filled up capacity within the first 12 months, which is very unusual for a gym. But about 6 months in, I was stressed to the max. All I did was work. And there was one night in particular where my cleaning crew, they didn't show up. And so literally I was in the bathroom, like scrubbing toilets on my hands and knees. And I thought, this sucks. Like, this is not what I signed up for. And so I desperately wanted to get out of the gym ownership business. And timing, it was so cool. One of my competitors didn't know the position that I was in. He came to me and said, hey, we saw what you did with your business. We want to buy your business. And Ashley, was so cool. In my head, I wasn't telling him this, but I was like, just take it, like, make me an offer and it's yours. And so he bought my business, and that was 10 years ago. This is my 10-year anniversary since I sold my gym. And so I sold it, and the next day I was unemployed. And it was so strange because up until this point, I knew what I was building towards, and then I had nothing. And so we were talking before we started recording here. I've got kind of like a nerd tech side to me. I thought, well, you know, this is 10 years ago, before online training was a thing. And I had this idea for a membership website where I was going to stream videos and do all this stuff. And I just started tinkering around with it and started getting some traction and realized, holy cow, like, this online fitness thing, there's potential here. And so, like I said, this is my 10th year as a full-time online fitness coach.
Ah, cool. And it's obviously been growing very successfully since then, obviously growing and growing and growing over time. That's just really, really cool. So with that in mind, then, what did you actually do? We obviously titled this the kind of 2 requirements for getting online clients. And as we kind of alluded to before we actually started this, one of the hardest things I think most people in this group especially have is getting clients, especially in online. So what kind of things did you do, and what processes did you do to try and get those? And yeah, how did you get your first online clients, I suppose?
Honestly, it's a great question. I just want to emphasize, I did most things the hard way, because imagine rewinding 10 years ago and like all the stuff that we know now about online fitness, it was non-existent. And so literally I was just trying things and seeing what worked. So like I said, I started out with a streaming subscription video service, and it was actually doing really well. I was making a lot of money. It was growing like crazy. And then the thing that killed my business was YouTube absolutely exploded. And all of a sudden there was all this free content. It was just as good as the stuff that I was selling. And I realized I need to pivot my business. And so I had to change what my offer was. And that's one of the really crucial things that when I talk to personal trainers today is they don't realize what is the valuable offer that I'm selling going to be, and why is that different from everything else? So Ash, we were talking about what are the two things that you need to get online clients. The first one is you need to really understand what is your offer. Many of the coaches that I talk to, they think that if they're an in-person personal trainer, they think that going online just means I'm going to use PT Distinction and just pump out workouts to my clients, and I'll sit back on my couch and watch the checks roll in.
Yeah.
And like, if that's what you think online training is all about, geez, maybe pump the brakes a little bit. If that's what we were providing, we're competing with YouTube. We're competing with every single workout website that provides video. We're competing with every single magazine that provides workouts. So as an online coach, that's like a piece of our offer, but it's a small piece of our offer. So that's kind of the first thing. Ash, does that make sense? Any questions about that, about carving out this like awesome offer?
It does make a lot of sense. There's no questions and stuff coming on here, but I know exactly what you mean. Most of the kind of information and stuff, like when I first started online training, it wasn't quite 10 years ago, but it was some time ago before online training came about. And like you, I used, I think it's Vimeo, but I use things like Google Forms and things like that to deliver my stuff to them with videos and stuff embedded. And I kind of see exactly what you mean now. That information that I'll give away there is so readily available. You know, people can just go and Google it and they can find it and go and, let's say, go to YouTube and places like that. And the way you offer something was very different. And I think what kind of happened, the big change was that before, it was almost like an information age. This is what I found anyway. It was an age of information. Everyone wanted that information. And then I think what it's slowly become now from a coaching point is more about implementation and about how you're going to sort of implement that, help people implement that information they've got. And for me anyway, that's what I thought it was. And I think that's how I had to change my offer at the time. Yeah, that's
100%. I completely agree with you. When I coach personal trainers and help them build their online businesses, we talk about the 3 C's that need to go into your offer. And so the first C is giving your clients or your prospects confidence that they can change. And this is something that you've got to practice. Imagine just sending someone a workout. That doesn't give them any confidence that they're going to do any better with that workout than they did with the 10 other workouts that they've tried. So there has to be something in the way that you communicate with your clients so that they actually believe that this time is going to be different. I always talk about moving them from point A. Point A is where they're dissatisfied, they're frustrated, they have low confidence, they don't feel like they're ever going to succeed, to a point where they have hope and they start to see this trajectory of moving them towards point B, where their life is actually different. And so if we can instill this confidence that we are the person that can take them from point A to point B, that's the first step in selling, actually being able to deliver that confidence. So there are 3 C's. Confidence is the first one. And then you actually, Ash, you alluded to this. The second is consistency. So we give them confidence that we have a program that's going to be different and that we're the ones that can deliver results. And then we set up a system so that they consistently implement. Because if we give them hope and we sell them on this idea and we sell them this program and they don't do anything with it, that hope's going to drop off pretty quickly. The third C, I would say the most important C that most coaches overlook is care. Actually, how are we caring for our clients? And there are many ways, like system ways and tech ways. I have literally hundreds of clients. And so if I was like hopping on calls with them all day long, yeah, they might feel cared for, but I would burn out so quickly. And so I don't want you to think that caring just means more of your time. It's, again, a systems thing. How do you make sure that they're getting touch points? How do you make sure that if they have questions, they're getting answered, whether they're from you or an answer from your community? There's so many ways to build that care in.
That's so cool. I like the kind of the 3 C's side of it. I think the care thing's a big thing I get brought up a lot with me, with my clients, especially when doing the done for you stuff. Is how do you actually help your clients believe that you care about what we do? Because they do care. You know, we're coaches. We want to train people. We want them to get results. That's why we got into this business in the first place. And it's how do you have those touch points with them in a scalable online business? Because like you said there, you believe you've got 100+ clients on there. I know people that I've worked with now that have hundreds plus clients. And when I'm working with a lot of new clients that come into using PTD and we chat about this and we talk about this, they still find it very hard to see past this kind of like, well, what am I going to do when I get 10 clients? I mean, how am I going to manage that? I mean, I have to do weekly calls with them. I have to do an hour weekly call all the time because what they're going to pay me for. And I think that's kind of the barriers I seem to run across all the time. I mean, what would you say to somebody who said that?
Like Ash, I hear that all the time. Trainers often get fixated on the features of their programs. Mm-hmm. And you guys have probably talked about this before. You just said it though. Well, if I don't sell them like a coaching call every single week, why are they going to pay me? Listen, your clients are just as busy as you are. And so get yourself in the mindset of one of those clients. Is your client actually paying you for more time that they have to schedule into their calendar? No way. They're paying you because they believe that you're taking them from A to B. And that's all you need to deliver. The less time that they have to invest and the less time you have to invest to get them from A to B, the more valuable your service is. And so I just want to challenge that idea. Yeah, coaching calls are great. And some clients, in order to move from point A to point B, they need that. But do all clients need that? Certainly not. And do clients need that as you work with them longer and longer? Certainly not. In fact, I often say we're doing our clients a disservice if we're getting on a coaching call with them like once a week, or I meet some coaches and they're offering like 2 calls per week. That's babysitting. That's hand holding. We want to train independence. We want to train success. We want to train our clients to be able to do it without us, because those are the clients that are going to go out and they're going to like sing our praises from the rooftops. So yeah, just getting over that mindset of selling features. Instead, we want to sell results.
Yeah, I think that's quite an excellent way of putting there, selling results. So many times you go to websites, and again, when I come across new trainers that come online, it is very much about, we've got this app, or want to do this. And obviously there's nothing wrong with the PT app, there's nothing wrong with the software, but it's very much selling this idea. We can track this, we can do this, we can do that. And I always try to vision it to like when you go on holiday. You don't go and buy you don't go on holiday because, well, some people might do, but most people don't go on holiday because they want to spend 9 hours in a tin can flying through the air. They go there because of the destination they're going to get to. And I think this is kind of the same thing when it comes to selling online, especially an online service. You really do have to, I suppose, focus around that kind of end result that they get. Well, that's what I found anyway. I mean, with that in mind, when it comes to putting an offer together, one of the big things I tend to get asked a lot as well is, do you go down a membership route and do you sell like a monthly membership, or do you sell like a package, like a 12-week or a 16-week or whatever it is? And if you're going down the route of a membership style approach, then how do you sell the end result? Because if you're trying to keep them there for a long period of time, where is that end result? That's a question I get asked quite a lot. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'd say I want to challenge that though. Again, the idea of, if I'm selling a membership, if I train my clients to be independent, are they just going to leave me and then kill my own business? That's very much a scarcity mindset. And if you think about, so I'll throw this out to all the coaches who are watching, if you've ever worked with a business coach or a fitness coach of your own, and you've gotten really good results with that coach, did you stop when you arrived at your initial goal? And the answer, I'd say probably for 9 out of 10 of us, is no. Let's use business, for example. So for all of you who are watching who are personal trainers, imagine we started working together and I said, hey, in 6 months, you're going to be earning $10,000. Sorry, you guys are talking in pounds, 10,000 pounds per month. Imagine at 6 months, you're earning 10,000 pounds per month. Do all of a sudden you say, yes, I reached my goal. See you later, Dave? No, you say, this is fantastic. What are we going to aim for in the next 6 months? And so I want to change your mindset and think of a growth mindset, an opportunity mindset. If you can deliver truly transformational results to your clients, like that's your client that's going to be a lifetime client.
I suppose that comes down again to, like you mentioned, one of the C's you talked about is that consistency. If you want to have someone that can get a true transformation, I suppose you like with a true transformation, then you kind of need them to be consistent in the stuff you're asking them to implement. So what kind of processes do you go for? You mentioned there again, you have hundreds of clients you're working with, and I know this. I mean, people, he hasn't mentioned it yet, but he did ask me a question who's on here at the moment, who struggles getting some of his clients to adhere to certain stuff and not checking on certain stuff and things like that. So what can you do in your delivery to help with that consistent adherence over time, so they do get those results and then they will stay with you long term?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. I'm going to introduce a concept. There's something called the 4 tendencies. And Ash, I don't know if you're familiar with, there's an author named Gretchen Rubin. She's famous, writing all kinds of books, The Happiness Project, Better Than Before. She came up with this construct. It's called the 4 tendencies, and it's so powerful for coaching. So really, really quickly, I'll go through the 4 tendencies. Basically, these are personality types and how they relate to expectations. So there's one type that's called an obliger, and an obliger, they're going to do whatever they need to do in order to make someone happy. And from a coaching perspective, obligers are awesome because you say, do this, and an obliger wants to please you, and so they do it. And we've all worked with clients like that before who are just like those ideal clients. Then there's someone called an upholder, and an upholder is all about upholding rules, but those rules aren't necessarily the rules that their coach gives them. So if you give a rule or an expectation to an upholder and they have their own rule in their mind, there's this conflict here, and the upholder subconsciously decides, well, whose rule is actually right? And if they decide that their rule is right, so for example, if you're asking them to do weight training 3 times per week and they're a runner and they have a rule in their mind that running equals fitness, that's going to be a very hard thing for you to convert them just by you implementing another rule. Then there's someone called a questioner. And a questioner is always going to have questions as to why this makes sense. And so if you ask them to change something in their diet, they're going to need statistics, they're going to need case studies, they're going to need examples so that their questions are all satisfied before they adopt your framework. And then the last type of client, this is the one that we don't like dealing with, they're called a rebel. And a rebel is someone who, like, no matter how much information you give, no matter how much structure you give, they're going to buy in when they want to buy in. And our job as a coach with a rebel is to show them support, to ask them questions so that they come up with their own structure, and then we roll with their structure. So I know that was like a super, super quick overview. Ash, does that make sense? Do you have any questions on those? How can I be more helpful to clarify that, make that actionable for everyone watching?
I mean, that does make a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, if you've outlined the 4 kind of the main parts there, if I was to say to you, could you pick one top tip or advice for each one of them to help deal with that situation when it comes up, what would you think it would be for each one? I think just one tip you could do, your top tip.
Yeah. So the first thing is to get in that mindset of identifying which type our clients are. Because if you go in with like one game plan for all clients, you're going to have like 75% of your clients who aren't connecting with you. And maybe like coaches who are watching this right now, that's how you feel. Like you've got these, quarter of your clients who are crushing it and everyone else is like sort of floundering. So go in with the mindset. If you Google search the 4 tendencies quiz, there's actually an online quiz, and I have it as part of my onboarding process with my online clients. They go do the quiz and then they tell me which tendency they are. And then it's just like, that's the holy grail. Now I know exactly how to coach that client. So I'll go through these really quickly. The obliger, they're a piece of cake. Give them a framework that's easy to follow and they will follow it. For someone who's an upholder, to have a discussion with them and help like listen to their rules that they have. And so it'll take some questioning to figure out, what do they believe their standards are? What's really important to them? And then to bit by bit interject new rules that don't supersede their own rules. So you're just giving them a little bit that they can then make into their own rules. And once it's a rule for them, upholders are awesome because nothing will break that once it becomes their rule. For someone who's a questioner, I sort of alluded to this already, it's all about answering their questions. And so if you're asking, I'll use a weight loss client because all my clients are women who are looking to lose weight. Sometimes I'll prescribe them some macronutrient breakdowns. And if that's different from what they're used to, they're going to need to, like I said, see a lot of data, see a lot of case studies, see a lot of reasons why this is the solution. And so on a coaching call, I would give them a form where they can just like pepper me with questions. And I come prepared as the professional to show them that there's a real, like scientific, legitimate reason why they need to do this. And then as I mentioned with the rebel, our job in terms of C's is to just show them the utmost care. And it's amazing because rebels usually have a little bit of edge to them. And when you start trying to coach them, they're just like super resistant to everything. And so instead, just asking them questions about their own goals, what they've done in the past that didn't work, and help their mind start, like the wheels start turning so that they start to develop their own plan. And once they buy in and they start to work with you and develop their own plan, they actually become quite a good client, but they have to take that step first.
I do like that. I love the idea of helping them make their own plan. It's one of my favorite ways of coaching by far, having people become part of that decision-making process. And interesting enough,
Ash, sorry, I just want to jump in because that's so important, having them make their own plan. But again, if we use that strategy with the wrong type of client, so an obliger, for example, if I were to start asking them to make their own plan, they wouldn't be able to do it. And it would be actually really stressful They want someone to come in and say, do this. And then they get a gold star when they do it.
That's kind of cool, actually. So would you recommend them for anyone, say, onboarding their clients, do want to deliver it online, to maybe go through this kind of process with them? And instead of just having the standard kind of, PAR-Qs, informed consents, and a few lifestyle questionnaires, would you think this kind of approach, this kind of questionnaire that you're talking about here, would have a much more profound effect on the results you'll get from your clients long term?
Like 1,000,000%. Now, does it do away with PAR-Q and like assessment forms and all that? No, of course I have that structure built in as well. But in my first coaching call, I want to know which of the 4 types they are, because from day one, it changes the way I coach. And Ash, like, we set this up to talk about how to acquire new clients, but acquiring new clients into a leaky bucket, a system that doesn't get results, means we always have to be filling up that bucket. So instead, I want to plug all our leaks so that our clients are sticking with us, and then that bucket just fills and fills and fills.
I love that way of doing it. It's kind of say, like, plug the leaky bucket as you do it all. I suppose, again, when it comes to even getting clients as well, if you're not getting those results, it's almost impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but it's a lot of hard work. You're always churning through new clients all the time. And I think everyone knows it's always a lot harder to get new clients than what it is to actually keep the clients you've already got. It's definitely. Quick question down here is actually, let's get this 4 tendency quiz on PTD. Maybe. Well, because we'll talk about ways of maybe looking at that a bit later on in this, about getting it inside. But I'm sure, in fact, I know it is. It'd be possible to create something like that inside PT Distinction if we wanted to. You mentioned there as well about, and even Kelly Doyle has actually posted the link for the quiz as well, actually in there as well, which is really, really cool.
Thanks, for everyone who's watching, it's really interesting actually when coaches do it, because typically coaches, we're either questioners or we're upholders. And so test it out for yourself and see where you land. But it's so insightful. Like, once I'm an upholder to a T, and once I learn that, I just see it everywhere. If there's something that I believe has to get done, I just do it. If someone like shows me a workout program and I think that that's the best program for me, I will do that every single day. No one needs to be barking in my ear. And coaches quite often were like that, but our clients aren't. And that's one thing that I learned the hard way, is that I just thought if I give people these awesome plans, they will do them, but they won't, because usually non-coaches, they're not usually upholders.
I suppose that leads quite nice onto the kind of first T that you mentioned, the confidence. I guess in order to understand how to instill confidence in the information that you're giving them and trying to get them to implement, you kind of need to understand what level they're at and where they're coming from, because that's obviously going to make a big difference, isn't it, to the type of and the way you implement that information to them.
Yeah, 100%. We were talking about how quite often in-person coaches, they think that being an online coach is just delivering workouts. It's not. Like, I look at myself as, I actually hate this term, but like a life coach. There's much more psychology behind the coaching I do than actually physiology or even like nutritional guidance. It's about helping people get in the right mindset. And so when I go through the 4 tendencies, and I have a bunch of other things that I use to get into my clients' minds, it's cool, because Ash, they'll say things to me. Literally, they will say, Dave, it's like you're a wizard. I hear that. Like, that's actually something people say, because I understand them in a way that their former personal trainers have not, because that personal trainer was fixated on exercise teaching. I'm not an exercise teacher. I'm a coach that's helping people do things that they couldn't do before. And so when I start speaking to their life and speaking to them in ways that they want to hear and that they can actually apply, all of a sudden it's like eyes are open and they think I'm this magician or this wizard. Geez, like, I'm not, but I've just learned some tactics and strategies that work really well.
That's so cool. And someone's asking down here, actually, they mentioned that you had quite a few clients and stuff online currently, and you don't have to have these weekly calls and coaching calls and stuff with clients, which you've talked about already. But a lot of what we've talked about is having these kind of conversations with them, like you've mentioned there. And what a lot of people are curious is, well, what kind of either techniques or systems, I should say, do you kind of use or implement in order to allow you to coach in this way, but with so many clients?
Oh, great question. So you're familiar with the term of value ladder?
Yeah.
So for everyone watching, in case you don't know, picture a ladder, and each rung on the ladder is a different offer from your business. As you move up the ladder, your prices increase, but so does your hands-on connection, your hands-on service, or the amount of like service and product that you're providing. So my bottom rung in my ladder is simply exercise plus community. So people in my bottom rung, they pay me $100 a month. They get workout programs every single month, and they're part of my thriving, supportive community. And that's it. Literally, I create one workout per month. I push it out to all of those clients on that bottom rung, and then they interact in a Facebook group that has been developed in such a way so that the culture is so supportive.
Cool.
I often talk about stickiness, and this is just like a business term. If you think about how sticky you are, the stickier you are, the more painful it is to rip you off a client or rip a client away from you. And so think about those people in that bottom rung. Someone might argue and say, well, couldn't they just go get their workout somewhere else? Yeah, they could, but then they lose this community that has become part of their life. And that makes me really sticky. They don't want to lose that. So those clients stick around forever. You can think about it from a coaching standpoint, very little investment on my end there. Just nurture the Facebook community. Moving up the value ladder, we work towards eventually, well, I'll start sort of a mid-tier. Mid-tier, I do a group coaching program. And so people would enroll in this, they'd be in a Facebook community. All the content would be dripped out to them on a daily basis, and they'd have homework that they need to go and do in the Facebook group. So as they're doing that homework, there's the support from the Facebook group. All the instructions are in this drip feed system. And then from a coaching standpoint, all I need to do is comment on the work being done in the Facebook group. Again, very low input on my end, and I can coach a huge number of women all at the same time through programs like that. My top tier, which to be honest, I don't do a lot of top tier coaching anymore just because it's not scalable. And yeah, just that's the point of my business where I'm at. My top tier, so I'll give you some pricing so you guys get an idea. So $100 for bottom rung. My mid tier is about $500 a month. I'm talking in USD. And then top tier is $2,000 a month. And for $2,000 a month, then I would actually dive in and do some coaching. There's all sorts of resources and stuff I pull into that client. That would be a client who has a lot of work psychologically to do. And if I put them into a group program, they're not going to be successful. So that's very rare case. Usually it's on the bottom end of the ladder.
Yeah, cool. That makes sense. And interesting, they're asking now, if you're charging those kind of prices, how do you get those clients into those rooms? I suppose it's an obvious question. Yeah, cool. So yeah, basically they're asking, well, the lower tier stuff makes sense, but do you try and actively bring clients into the lower end and move them up the rungs, up the ladder? Or do you actually try and bring people in at certain levels, depending on where you think they are? How do you generally approach that?
Yeah, the nice thing about having a value ladder, and again, this goes back to our offer, is like all the coaches who are watching, what is your value ladder? Do you have something that you can plug anyone into? Most coaches I meet, they usually have something at the bottom end, and it's delivering workouts, and they're usually way undercharging. So they'll like deliver workouts and charge like $50 a month. And to be honest, at $50 a month, you're probably not helping anyone because they don't have skin in the game. They're probably not going to do your workouts. They're probably not going to be a big contributing member to your Facebook group. That's a tough business to build. At the same time, you probably interact with a lot of clients who need this service and would be willing to pay for it, but you don't have it. And so that's why it's so important. All the coaches that I work with, we all have at least 3 rungs on our value ladder. So as we start conversations and as we meet people, you'll just know you can plug them in at wherever they should be. A lot of my systems are automated now, and so I do plug people in at the bottom rung. And the cool thing is, once you have a community, a Facebook community that's like really vibrant, there's so much FOMO happen in there, fear of missing out. All of these clients in here are doing these workouts, and they see a client from this program talking about their homework that they just did, and I don't even have to sell anymore. They say, hey, Mary, how did you get that meal planner? What are you doing there? Mary says, well, check out this link. And then they check out the link and go and buy it. I didn't do anything. And that's the place you want to be, is your community just sells for you.
That's such a cool situation to be. I suppose it takes a bit of time to nurture that and build that over time. But I suppose one of those common things that seems to be missed out quite a lot in the online world is time has a huge factor in this. Like, it's not very often you can kind of just start and go, it's all going to happen overnight. It is one of those things where you do have to invest a bit of time and a bit of effort sometimes to build, like, say, this community up in order to do that.
Yeah, 100%. Like when coaches come to me and they say, I want to build an online business, my first question back to them is, how much time do you have available? Because a lot of coaches, they're training 30, 40 hours in the gym each week. I always say, I need 5 of your hours. If you can give me 5 hours to dedicate to building your online business, you can crush this. If you can't give me 5 hours, you got to go and examine your in-person business and either get rid of some clients, increase your prices so some clients go away, do something to free up 5 hours. Because just like the same with our fitness clients, how the second C is consistency. Guys, everyone who's watching this, your second C in building up your online business is also consistency. And I found it takes about 5 hours to actually be consistent.
Wow, that's quite a cool number to have. So we've obviously talked we titled this obviously the 2 requirements for getting online clients. We've spent probably half an hour now talking about the kind of first requirement, the offer is one that obviously very important side of it. So what would be your second requirement for getting online clients?
Yeah, the second requirement is to have an audience. And I just want to preface this by saying, as soon as I say that, everyone that's watching, they're probably like, I don't have an audience, or I only have, however many Instagram followers. Listen, there's an article, and you can Google search this. It's called 1,000 True Fans. And this was a game changer for me. It's an old article now, but basically it challenges the idea that for anyone like us who's looking to build a business or become, he uses the example of like artists or musicians, quite often we think we need millions of followers. But the article, it's really simple. It says, imagine if you had 1,000 followers, 1,000 true fans who you poured so much into them that they loved you. And whenever you launched a new product or service, they were willing to instantly buy it from you. He said, if you could do that, those 1,000 true fans, they only have to spend $100 with you per year, and you've got a 6-figure business. And I remember reading that, and it's like such simple math, right? Of course, that makes sense. But it changed the way that I do business. And so instead of thinking I need to reach millions of people, I think about how can I build those 1,000 true fans? So, sorry, did you have a question? Because there's a specific framework to go for this. Yeah, go for it.
No, it's cool. I was going to say it's very similar. It's almost like a scaled down version of Apple. I always think Apple's very much like that, as in you can literally, I don't know any other company in the world where millions of people will queue up outside of a building to go and spend $1,500 on an item they've never touched, seen, or used before. I find that incredible with their phones. I think that's just fans. People love Apple. And I think that's why they do it. And you see it happen all the time. It just reminded me of that when you said that. That's all.
Well, and Apple's done a great job because it actually it started out as a very niche product. And then it has built those 1,000 true fans who then just like built and built and built. And now it's got millions and millions of those true fans. So that's obviously where we all want to head. When we're talking about building those 1,000 true fans, so everyone right now, if you imagine like a bullseye, so we've got concentric circles. In the middle of the bullseye is what I call your inner circle. And those are former in-person clients, they're friends, former coworkers, like family members. Those are people who really know, like, and trust you. Those people are so easy to turn into your 1,000 true fans if you focus on them. Most personal trainers who come to me and say, Dave, like, help me build my online business. I got to run Facebook ads and I need your help. They've ignored this. And instead they're going out here, the outer ring of this bullseye. It's to completely cold traffic. People maybe not even in their own country, people who they've never interacted before. And my challenge to those people is, you want to run Facebook ads? How many of your programs have you sold to your inner circle? Because if you haven't proven that you can sell here, I guarantee you, no one out here is going to buy. So here's your 1,000 true fans. There's actually 4 steps in this bullseye. So the first is your inner circle. The next easiest 1,000 true fans is through partnerships. And so, Ash, you can imagine you and I serve the same target demographic, but we had slightly different services. You might come to me and say, hey, Dave, I've got this really cool thing coming out. I know you don't offer this to your audience. Do you want to partner up in this? And you can share this with your audience. And I say, okay, great. And I go on Facebook Live and I send an email. I'm like, hey, guys, all my female clients, you got to meet Ash because he's doing this amazing thing. They've never met you before, but just by me saying, Ash is amazing, it's what we call the halo effect. And all of a sudden, in their eyes, you're very trustworthy. You're very likable. They want to do business with you. So we've got inner circle here. We've got partnerships here. That's easy, 1,000 true fans. Next step out here is organic traffic. And, we could nerd out and talk about SEO and blog posts and all this stuff, but whether it's through a blog or it's through Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, building up your organic audience, it's going to take some time to nurture them to get to the point where they know, like, and trust you and become one of those 1,000 true fans. But that would be your next step. I just need to emphasize that we don't move there until we've exhausted our inner circle and then we've built legitimate partnerships. Then we focus on organic. And once we've got a handle on organic, then we start to think about Facebook ads or PPC.
I do love that structure. I find it quite interesting that the way you describe that second circle there is pretty much most of how my business is run. Trying to it's the inner circle and the kind of partnership stuff. Like, I very, very rarely till recently used to run ads because I don't really need to. So honestly, it was all through partnership, which I love the way you describe that. It's such a cool way of describing it. Cool. So we've talked there obviously about the 2 main requirements. We've got the offer, which is one of the key main requirements, and we've also got the audience again, which is a key requirement. At the start of this, we talked about your background and your background as a trainer. We talked a lot about what you do to deliver services to your online personal training clients. We've obviously mentioned a couple of times as well about a bit about what you do now, helping other coaches develop their businesses. And we haven't really talked about that too much. So could you just tell us a bit about some of the stuff you do now with actually helping coaches, who might be listening now or anyone else, about what you actually do, what you offer, what you have been offering to help develop their business?
Yeah, totally. My whole coaches business is called the Online Trainers Federation, and you can check it out, onlinetrainersfederation.com. It actually just came about. I never wanted to be a business coach. I love fitness coaching. I love my online fitness business. And I just had so many coaches saying, Dave, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? How are you doing this? And so one day, this was 2 years ago, I ran a webinar just to teach people. Like literally, I wasn't going to make any money off it. I just wanted to teach people. And so I taught all these marketing tactics. And there's about maybe 300 coaches on the webinar. And at the end, they were all in the comments saying, like, we want more of this. And so I literally threw up a PayPal link and said, I'm starting a coaching program. It's $500. Join me now. It starts in 2 weeks. All these people joined, and that was the birth of the Online Trainers Federation.
That's so cool. I love it.
So literally, we've been going at it for 2 years now, and I have a variety of programs, just like we talked about. I have a value ladder for the Online Trainers Federation. Depending on how much help you need, depending on where you're at, you fit in a different place on that value ladder. So yeah, the easiest way, if anyone wants more of this, like the easiest way is to join the Online Trainers Federation Facebook group. And this is what we talk about all day long. So I'm going to self-promote here. If you go to go to onlinetrainersfederation.com/Facebook, and then you can request to join, and I'd be happy to let you in. Just tell us in the comments when you join, say you came from the PTD.
Cool. I'll put the link in the comments as well here, so you guys can go and find it, and I'll link through to the Federation page as well.
Mm-hmm. The other thing, Ash, so if I may, I know you and I talked about this before. The other thing that I'm really excited about right now actually is we're just in the middle of a launch of, it's a certification program. So this is like, it is the world's best training for everything that we just talked about. The 4 tendencies is in there. We talk about, finding your target audience. Like what we just kind of skimmed the surface on today is built into a course where you actually become a certified online fitness coach. And so if you go to onlinetrainersfederation.com/PTD, I made a link for you guys. It'll take people over there. And the cool thing is timing is perfect. We're in pre-registration right now, and that pre-registration closes on Monday. And so right now, to join that course, to get registered, get certified as a trainer, you save $300. Nice. And honestly, going through that course is going to open your eyes to your offer so that you know what you're selling. You have this value ladder. And then from there, when we're confident in what we sell, like sales gets so easy. And so I just encourage you, whether it's through my course or something else, you just need to know what you're selling.
That's so cool. Someone's literally just put in the comments, mate, I'm going to come with you, come with my sleeping bag and stay at yours until I develop my online business. That's going to be the best comment of the day. So what I'll tell you what I'll definitely do. I'll put the links for all these down into the comments as well, and I'll put a post up on the group just so they can catch it and have a look at it. Cool. I think we've got roughly to our sort of 45 minutes now. I think, has anybody got any questions or anything they want to ask before we do go? So I'm trying to keep these to 45 minutes and not have them run on too long if I can help it. Especially don't want to take up Dave's time too much.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, like anything you struggle with or something you've tried that is or isn't working in terms of getting clients, ask away.
Cool. I suppose we have kind of talked about this a little bit. It does get brought up quite a lot, actually. So I was asking about food diaries and about getting people to report properly inside food diaries. And if you've got the advice on that, I know it's not really to do with the sales side of stuff, but it kind of mixes the coaches stuff we talked about.
You know what? I love that question because this is about coaching. So the reason why I created the certification course is because I want people to up their game in being an awesome coach that delivers results. And right now, coaches aren't. I talk to them all the time where their systems are broken and they're not getting results. So here's a tip for you, and this absolutely blows it out of the water for your clients. I don't do any food journaling at all. I don't have anyone track calories. I don't have anyone write anything down. This is what I do is I get them to take their phone and they download an app called Pick Collage.
Oh, yeah.
Pick Collage. It's free. And then all they have to do is every time they eat or drink, they snap a photo. And at the end of the day, Pick Collage puts it into a collage and they post it in our Facebook group. And again, I've got steps that cultivated my Facebook group. So all the women know what to do when they see a Pick Collage. And it's like all this support, all this ability to answer questions from my clients who've been in the program for a while, and I don't have to do anything. the thing that I like about this is there's no mistakes. So when someone takes a photo, it's not that they weighed something and it was the wrong weight. We all see what they ate, and the accountability of that is just off the charts.
That's such a cool technique. It's the first time I've heard it that way. I've seen the photo technique before and things like that, but yeah, to the pic collage and have the whole community kind of help that person, then yeah, that's such a cool. I think,
and the cool thing is, like, it's the same for me. If I said to you, Ash, right now, hey, this week I want you to take a photo of everything you eat and drink and put it into a collage, like instantly your diet cleans up, because you don't want to be posting, well, I had a donut and then I had a burger and I drank a Coca-Cola. So it's like instant success. That alone, depending on what program I'm running, that's usually one of the first steps I take women through. And that alone makes a difference. They lose weight in the first week simply by their own conscience telling them what they should and shouldn't eat. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, it definitely works. It's not a client of mine, but it's my mother. And she actually wanted to lose weight, and I did a very similar thing with WhatsApp. I asked her, so I'll tell you what, just for the next couple of weeks, I want to take photos of everything you eat and send it to me on WhatsApp. And at the end of the week, I said, what do you think? I haven't even looked at it. And the whole point was just to get her to be more aware of the food. And she lost like 3 pounds in that week just by sending me photos. I didn't even look at it. And that was the whole point of the whole exercise. So I can definitely see how that could make a huge effect. By doing that way. Yeah, that's really, really cool.
I love that, man. I can tell that you've been coaching for a while, because that's a great coaching moment right there.
Cool. Awesome. I think that's all the questions. I can't see any more coming at the moment, other than people asking for where the link is. So I'll have to get the link up in here straight away. I'll get Dave to send the link through in just a second. I think we're just about done. So again, thank you very, very much for joining us. Thank you as well, Dave, for all your input today. It's been absolutely awesome. I hope everyone watching has got plenty out of this. I'm sure you have. If you've got any questions at all, feel free to just ask them in the comments now. And I'm sure Dave can obviously try and answer them a bit later on, or I'll try and help wherever I can. And yeah, I'll also put the links in the comments as well, so you can check out the new training and the new certification as well, which would be really, really cool. And I'll also add in a link for your Facebook group. Happy days.
Awesome. Yeah, Ash, my pleasure. It was awesome being here. If anyone has any questions, reach out. I'm super happy to help you out.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. And we'll speak to you all soon.